Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Me again, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Coming back at you. Another offering. Off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks. Sampler video series videos I've been doing for a little while now. Go over there, try out food and drink items. I eat stuff, I drink stuff, then, folks, I'm going to talk about stuff. I'm going to let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff that time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not going to lie. It's interesting to do one of these reviews not long after a concert because I'm so much more muted in my hearing than I normally am. But anyway, folks, it's a super simple format. I'm going to go over there, I'm going to try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm yammering on about it for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm inside my truck. Whilst I'm doing all that, folks, you know it, I'm wearing a super cool shirt. Folks, when I wear super cool shirts, I always like to highlight super cool shirt. What super cool shirt am I wearing for you today, though? Happens to be my Delane shirt. It's a very cool shirt. I like this shirt. This is actually a tour shirt. And if you're unfamiliar with the band Delane, they're a symphonic metal band from the Netherlands. I found their stuff, I want to say early 2025, somewhere around there. Yeah, it would have had to have been. And then it kind of worked out perfectly because I got into their stuff, and then I started looking into, some of their social media stuff, and it turned out that they were going to be going over there and playing a show not too far from me, like just a few weeks later. So I was like, all right, let's get down with this. It was a tremendously awesome show. All the bands that showed up were fantastic, and Delane were delightful. Delightful Delane. If you don't believe me, I actually have videos of their performances that I attended. They're on my channel as well, in case maybe you want to check them out. If nothing else, I'd be more than happy to kind of point you in the right direction as far as their music goes, because I think they're absolutely awesome. But anyway, what am I trying for you today, folks? What are we doing here? Why am I friggin' sweating like a pig? I'm sweating like a pig because it's like properly summer and we're in the middle of a stupid heat wave. So like, even though it's not that, like late in the day, it's like, real early at this time, it's still really shitty out. But hopefully this will help because it's specifically designed for the summer. It happens to be, boom, Mountain Dew Summer Freeze. Specifically a mix of cherry, lemon, and raspberry flavors. So yeah, this is basically their Rocket Pop, flavored soda. This is not exactly a new flavor. I think they came out with it 2 or 3 years ago, I want to say. Because whenever it comes to like the 4th of July, they always try to come out with some sort of patriotic dew. And they've had a few different cracks at it. Last year, they came out with 3 individual flavors, one for red, white, and blue. Or one each for those. I reviewed those, by the way, if you're interested. This year, they're going back to the Summer Freeze. I figure, what the hell, we'll review it. It looks like this, and we'll just go, ha 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 ha, it's blue. That smells how I remember it smelling. Let's give it a go. Okay. That's not bad. So, the thing is, when you're going over there and trying to recreate Rocket Pop flavor, right? You're typically trying to do one of two things. Either you're trying to go over there and come up with a way where you actually get a hit from each of the 3 elements, right? The cherry, lemon, and raspberry. So you want to get those distinct flavor notes. Conversely, the other thing you can do is basically try to make it taste like a Rocket Pop if the Rocket Pop melted all together. And I've seen both approaches. Rocket Pop, kind of became a thing as a flavoring a few years ago. The first thing I ever saw that had it was Faygo, and I actually reviewed that. You can watch that review if you're interested. And actually, I think that to this day, I think they've still done it the best in terms of like authenticity of the flavor. I will say, I kind of think that, again, it's been a few years since this one's been out. I want to say, though, I feel like this might be an improved formula. Because I remember at the time when and I did review it originally too, I remember enjoying it for what it was, but not being all that impressed with the way the flavors came together. In this instance, though, I am not remarkably impressed, but it's caught my attention more, because I am getting a more distinct flavor journey. I am getting the different flavors, which, there we go. Because I would say, starting out, the cherry and the lemon feel like the most prominent flavors. And they've certainly, they're kind of a blended flavor. It's sort of a citrusy cherry kind of taste, which is actually a really delicious flavor flavor combination anyway. And that's at the forefront, right? Then the cherry kind of fades out a little bit. The lemon still sort of hangs around, and then you get kind of this sort of more dry berry flavor, sort of the raspberry vibe at the tail end. So you kind of start with the cherry, the lemon is still kind of prominent throughout, but then again at the end you get that raspberry. So there is definitely sort of a distinct, flow of flavors, which is really cool. And it's tasty. I like it. I appreciate the fact that, like I said, it's got a little complexity to it. You do get elements from all three of the flavors. I like it. It's not a bad take on a Rocket Pop soda. Now, that said, does my brain immediately go to Rocket Pop when I try it? No. It's more... It's one of those things where, like, knowing what it is, obviously, my brain can kind of search for it, and it can seek out the things that it knows to look for. It's not an immediate thing for me that goes, oh, that's Rocket Pop flavor. Instead, again, it's more of a, kind of cohesive journey that you get brought on, and so you have to kind of piece out, the individual landmarks. But it's nice. It's a Mountain Dew. It's certainly very sweet tasting for what it is, although it's not as sweet as some I've had before. And kind of overall, yeah, it's sort of a mix between, kind of a cherry, citrusy, and then a little bit of a raspberry vibe. So, but, two questions have to be asked. Would I get it again? Would I recommend it? Sure and sure. So, while I am, I think, more impressed with this version than I was when it originally came out, whether that's on their end or maybe my taste buds being in a better place than they were at the time, I don't know. But I do like it. That said, it would not be like a favorite Dew of mine. Like, it's certainly not going to be in the upper echelon for me. But it's like a solid, like, again, if it's not in that upper tier, maybe the lower end of the tier just below it, it's not like one that's holy shit amazing, but I like it for what it is. I will say I personally preferred when they did the three individual flavors last year. I really liked those, and a couple of those I thought were really exceptional. This one, for what it is, it's good. It'll do the job. I fully understand why they didn't do the 3-flavored thing again. I know they kind of lost out on sales as a result of that. They were expecting them to sell better. But maybe it'll be an alternating thing. Maybe next year they'll do something else, or maybe they'll bring back the Liberty Brew. But this, for what it is still a good Mountain Dew, if not anything super spectacular. That's why if I'm recommending it, I'm sure I'll still recommend it. It's decent tasting. It's a limited time Dew. I have had far less impressive limited time Dews. I did that Mango Rush that was Little Caesars exclusive. You can watch that review if you're interested. That one did not impress me. This one, for all intents and purposes, is a good one, and I think it's something that people can get behind. The flavors are familiar, it works out pretty nice, and it, hits on that summertime vibe. 5 things before I get out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of your week, monumental rest of your month, stupendous rest of your year. Folks, go over there, have yourselves a truly rocket pop-tastic rest of your life, because, I mean, come on, who doesn't enjoy a good old-fashioned rocket pop? It's a good time. Final 2 things. Number 1, try to bring some positivity into the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what do you do if you can't do it all the time? I know I can't do it all the time. Here's what you're going to do, folks. You're going to try not to be an asshole. Now, folks, it's not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me. I know it. I live it. I'm out there every day with you in it. Life can be stressful and frustrating and just bullshit sometimes, folks. When we find ourselves in situations where we have to deal with said bullshit, it's important we go over there, whenever possible, take a step back, try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives, hopefully do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, what's your favorite Rocket Pop flavored, beverage or whatever? Because like I said, there's been a few. Faygo's the one that comes to mind. I want to say, I think Wild Bill's, I think they did a version. There's some other ones. One of the energy drinks did it too. I can't think of off the top of my head, but a lot of things tagged in on this when it was a little bit of a trend a couple years ago. But let me know your experience with it.